I'm Adam Willems, lead reporter at the Financial Revolutionist.
I'm Sheri Chin, CMO of Galileo Financial Technologies.
Sheri, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so to start off, I'd love to hear more about the panel that you've been on at Money 2020.
So I'm very excited about the panel. It's all about women in fintech and how CMOs are evolving in the fintech industry.
Yeah, so what was sort of the thrust behind that, and why sort of female representation in CMO space in particular?
Yeah, I think it's really going to center around how women can advance in the fintech industry. And there's really, I have a strong point of view in that, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah, so I think it really centers around three areas. The first is learning and iterating and being very intentional about fine tuning your craft and honing your marketing skills or whatever functional area is. I think the second area is networking and mentorship because that can accelerate your learning. And then the third, and probably the most important, is sponsorship and access. And really, if you do the first two well, that will lead to sponsorship and access to opportunities for more senior levels in fintech.
right, absolutely. Do you sort of when you look at the fintech space, I imagine you see a lack of representation for women, for people of color, for women of color, and so forth. And I'm wondering if you could sort of speak more to um, the path to you becoming a CMO of a very successful fintech, as well as sort of, in addition to the panel, what you've been endeavoring to do to help others sort of end up in positions like yours.
So I have been very lucky, and the industry has been very kind to me. But I really didn't start networking until around 10 years ago when I was in transition. And through meeting others and really focusing on expanding my network, I met a wonderful woman who was a partner in a PE firm
Mm-hmm.
who had a portfolio of fintech companies. And we would have conversations. She would ask for thoughts and guidance. And sharing is really important. And when one of her portfolio companies had a CMO opportunity, she reached out and sponsored me. And you really got to see it all in action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learning and innovating, you have to be the best that you can be. And then expanding your network leads to access and sponsorship.
Right, absolutely. So you mentioned that you were in transition. What were you doing previous to this?
So I was also in a fintech
Okay.
financial services, but I took a hiatus
Okay.
and was pivoting from a large company
Okay.
to a more emerging, not startup, but emerging
Right.
company.
Right. Absolutely. What's the experience been like as CMO at Galileo?
It's been incredible. I've been at Galileo for 3 years. Prior to my arrival, they didn't have a, a built out marketing team. They have a very, very lean marketing team. And we've been able to um, build the team from the ground up and have had really great growth and success.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have three more questions.
Okay.
One is, I think it's really great that you were able to speak on a panel that uh, serves a really crucial
Yeah.
need for a lot of people who are sort of making their way up in fintech. I'm wondering what are other topics that you wish you would see on site, whether here or at other conferences?
Um, Other topics I think would be around sort of how we can support um, developing talent and how we can identify developing talent. I think that that's really important. Like like identifying and being able to nurture and cultivate is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. What's that looked like internally at Galileo?
So at Galileo, we're very lucky. We have a lot of formal programs to do
Okay.
that, and that's really important. But I think there's also a very intentional effort to really mentor people in the company. And I myself have many women on my team and have had women on my team that I've worked really closely with. And in fact, one of the women who used to work for me is on the panel with me
Oh, great.
as a CMO. So she's a CMO, I'm a CMO. So
That's
it's
great.
great. Yeah.
That's
It's
a
full circle
yes,
experience.
exactly.
Yeah.
Totally. In addition to the panel, what are you hoping to get out of Money 2020?
Oh, it's really about the learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being very intentional. And, you know, fintech and financial services is so dynamic, evolving like crazy. And you really want to see what people are presenting, what people are showing. And there's always a nugget of idea that will lead to some sort of innovation.
Right. Absolutely. My last question is whether there are any questions I haven't asked that you feel like I should have.
I think fintech and financial services is ripe for women leaders because it's evolving, changing so rapidly, and where there's innovation, women can really flourish. Also, in in fintech particularly, we're looking to serve underserved segments, and I think women have very good insight into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Sheri. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.